Hey there, welcome to Astropsyche. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm Shawna, your counseling astrologer, and this is your weekly astrology forecast for September 12th through the 18th. And this week is about expressing your passion. So here at Astropsyche, we focus on healing and finding deeper meaning in life. And so we'll be doing that with the astrology of this week. And there's a lot of potential for expressing your passion in very helpful and meaningful ways. Now, we're still within the Mercury retrograde period. So Mercury stationed retrograde last week, Friday, the 9th of September. And so we're in this 3-week or so process of reviewing, revising, and rethinking. And this is a great time to check back in on my Healing Your Mind mini course that I sent out for free via my newsletter. We'll be talking about some of the aspects that are within that as well. We're also within the gibbous phase of the moon. So this is the point after the full moon when the moon is still very bright in the sky and it's starting to become smaller. So we still have this like fullness of emotional expression that's happening this week. Now, the aspects that are happening, one of the major ones is Venus in Virgo will square Mars in Gemini. And so this is a bit of a tense aspect, and this is where we have a lot of passion that's coming up and a lot of desire for meaning, which is Venus in Virgo, and also a passion for expression and for doing and for communicating ideas. This is Mars in Gemini. What's really interesting about this aspect is that both of these planets are in signs that are ruled by Mercury. And we know that Mercury right now is retrograde. And so there's this emphasis on communication, expression, sharing ideas, and also just thinking about things too. So like contemplation. And the thing too is that Venus in Virgo tends to require because Venus is considered in fall in Virgo, so this is kind of like a more challenging place traditionally for Venus, which simply means that we need to put a little more effort into relationships and connection because there is this emphasis on detail and discernment and really being thoughtful about what it is that your values are. And then Mars in Gemini really wants to have, to talk things through and to connect and to share ideas. There's a passion for this kind of analytical thinking. Now, the other aspect that's happening this week is we have the Sun opposite Neptune, and it will also trine Pluto. So this combo to me is where there's a little bit of uncertainty or sometimes confusion or like not really being clear on what it is that you want when the Sun is opposite Neptune. But I think the trine to Pluto here is actually helpful because Pluto brings depth and intensity. Again, that passion also is very connected to Pluto. And Pluto, especially Pluto's Sun, where it's in a trine like this, a helpful aspect, it brings the ability to see the truth of the matter. And so when we have this combo, Sun Neptune is about confusion or lack of clarity or sort of like getting lost in a moment. And then Sun Pluto is about like laser clarity and really knowing what the thing is. So these two sort of conflict with each other. And I think that simply means that there might be a little bit of both. Like maybe there's an area of life where you feel very clear and there is like this this insight that comes and this inner knowing that has, Pluto has kind of like this sharpness to it, whereas Neptune is kind of like this, it's like water. It's like hard to pin down. So there's that sharpness, but then also a little bit of uncertainty as well. And these may be in different areas of life, or, you know, life is complicated. Sometimes we have a lot of different feelings about the same thing. The other thing that's happening here is that we have the third quarter moon in Gemini. So this is happening at 25 degrees of Gemini. It's happening on Saturday, the 17th. And so this is a time where it's like a time of pivot and a time of redirection. So this is at an emotional level because we're talking about the moon. But our emotions affect our day-to-day life. And so I think that this weekend is where you may, again, sort of like gain that kind of clarity, where you have a sense for how you want to move forward, especially when we're talking about Gemini and Mars is there, how to physically move forward on something, on a project. Now, the last aspect that's happening is we have Mercury opposite Jupiter. And so again, Mercury is still retrograde, and it's currently in the sign of Libra. So this is about rethinking, revisioning, revising, especially within anything that involves beauty or aesthetics or relationships. And when Mercury makes this connection to Jupiter, it's about expanding your ideas, expanding your awareness, being more inclusive, adding a wider variety and diversity to things. It can also feel kind of like you have a lot of big ideas and not enough space to house them. So I have some tips for you to really make the most out of this. Tip number one is to write it out. So to write out everything. There's so much emphasis this week on communication and verbally processing things, or just processing things in a more analytical way. And if you are a more like spatially processing person, like if you really process through abstract means like dance or art, I think that can be really helpful too. It's more about like getting all of the ideas and insights that you have out into the physical form. So write it out, talk it out in whatever way that you need to express. But especially like this Virgo and Gemini emphasis really wants to communicate. Tip number two is to be curious about uncertainty. And so this is really leaning into that Sun-Neptune aspect, which can be a little bit difficult sometimes. So the way that we work with Neptune is to sort of surrender to it and find healthy ways of being in the flow. So instead of like the shadow side of Neptune is kind of like checking out or numbing or just trying to like escape a situation. And we can do this in a healthier way, a life that's more growth inducing, through being curious about the uncertainty. So sort of like surrendering to the unknowing and being like curious and like not trying to pin something down, but kind of having a sense of wonder. Neptune's very much about wonder and an openness to what it is that you don't know. And I think that is also really helpful when we're within this Mercury retrograde period. And then the last tip is to ask, how can you be of service? So this is really laying into that Venus in Virgo energy and the Sun opposite Neptune and trine Pluto. These are all themes that really emphasize how it is that you can be helpful, and how you can have a sense of meaning and purpose. And this, how can you be of service? This can be for yourself in your life, your family, your friends, the wider collective or your community, whether that's locally or at a broader level. So to ask yourself, how can you be of service this week? And it could be just something very simple, maybe one thing that you can do this week. All right, so I hope that you found this helpful. If you liked this, please share it with a friend. And of course, you can sign up for my newsletter where I share other exclusive content. Like I mentioned, my Mercury retrograde free mini class that goes out to my newsletter list. And if you didn't get that, feel free to send me an email and I'm more than happy to send that to you. It's a free video class on Mercury's path through the retrograde process and all of the different aspects that it'll make, so that you can make the most out of this period. Um, I am wishing you so much love and blessings, and I will see you soon.